let's do social media guidelines take 3. So this is the last one. I've got 4 here for you for guidelines that could possibly help your children, maybe even yourself if you struggle, and maybe not. So we shall see, right? Digital footprint awareness. So remind your kids that what they post stays online forever. Somebody's gonna find it. There's no way to take it back. We had that option when we were younger. Unfortunately, our kids don't have it today. So colleagues and employers, check social media, act accordingly. Just remind them again, it's the future that counts. Think before commenting or reacting emotionally. This is a huge one, even for us as parents, right? I know when I worked in the office, I would always, if I got an email that maybe sparked some emotion, then it's always a good idea to write what you want as a response and then pause and come back to it. Same thing with social media. You can type out a comment, but you don't have to hit send right away. You can take some moments. You can teach your kids, let's breathe, let's get that inner peace again. Does this really matter? Come talk to me about this. We don't need to fight with people on social media at all. That's just a little ridiculous, I think. And the other thing is the unforeseen consequences when we talk about digital footprint awareness. When we commit a behavior choice, there's always positive consequences and negative consequences. And there are sometimes always immediate consequences, and sometimes there's long-term unforeseen consequences. And this one's really hard for a lot of kids to understand because they are still so young and cognitively developing, but it's super important that they understand that these long-term unforeseen consequences could be really harsh on us. And there are ways you could do that as a parent now, right? When your kids get in trouble and they do something like take your energy if they're fighting with you, and they want to go somewhere, maybe later in that evening or the next day, it's a perfect time to talk about unforeseen consequences and how doing something that drains your parent's energy makes it so they don't really want to do this for you in the end because they're so tired from arguing. Really important we start teaching our kids about that at a really young age. So no social media before bed. So keep phones, tablets out of bedrooms at night. The blue light disrupts sleep, and late night scrolling can increase anxiety. And do we really want our kids to have access to their friends 24/7? They probably need some time for some peace, some inner thought, and just some relaxation and self-care. And especially when they get in the dating age, right? You probably don't want them to have 24/7 access to whoever they're dating. They just don't need it. They're too young for that. Have a designated charging station for devices outside bedrooms. That should start on day 1 of when you get your kids a cell phone, whenever that might be. That can really help shape them so that when they're older teens, they understand that this is just what we do in this house. Handling cyberbullying. Never respond to bullies. Block and report them. Teach them how to screenshot if needed to report anything, and encourage open communication if they feel targeted. Again, super important, right? We've seen it play out in the news, what can go wrong when cyberbullying occurs with children. It really affects their self-esteem. And already if they have low self-esteem, it's not going to be really good for them. And we need to teach them that people say things online that they may necessarily not say to our face. And do they really mean it also, right? Are we just reacting like this and they're not being taught how to slow down and really think about their own actions? And lastly, just lead by example. We need to model good digital habits as parents, so limit screen time around your kids. No oversharing, respectful online behavior. If you start getting frustrated over a post and then you tell them about it and then you're telling them how you're posting about it, or they see that online, they're going to model your behavior and think it's okay. Show them how to engage in healthy social media use rather than just imposing rules. Again, super important. Kids mirror their behaviors, their home life. And if they spend almost 2 decades mirroring, and living in this environment, more than likely they're going to replicate it until they realize that maybe it's not the greatest thing to replicate and some things should change. You don't have to be perfect as a parent, of course, but we need to strive to be as good as we can be while our babies are young and while they're teens. That's just part of having kids. You kind of learn how to let go of some things that maybe you wouldn't have let go. And our life changes for a little bit. Well, we're learning how to raise them into healthy, happy, productive adults. So, do you guys already do these 4 things, or do you struggle with these? Drop a comment below. Love to engage and get the conversation started. The next few videos, I'm going to do examples of secure attachment and insecure attachment, just so that we can kind of understand, like break it down a little bit basically, and understand what do these mean in real life scenarios.